he has like, we need to get this out. And so he's just like, and like, dude, and I'm the worst too. I'll be calling him like, hey, I know you sent me this like a week ago, but like, I changed my mind. I don't like it anymore.
This is about you guys, your journey in music, and we'll talk about the new record. And you have a new song coming out, coming up, what, about a month away?
Yeah, the date now isn't like super set in stone yet, but the next one's about a month away.
Yeah.
Cool, cool. Your name's Amanda, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to double check.
Yeah.
Cool, cool. Well, we know Tosh's story a little bit, so we'll get to Tosh in a minute if that's cool. But Amanda, tell me, where were you born and raised?
I was born in Kent, Washington, which is like 20 minutes south of Seattle.
Okay.
Yeah, and I just grew up there and moved down here when I was about 18.
Okay.
So yeah.
How did you get into music?
I was always like a singer. And I kind of taught myself how to play acoustic guitar so that I could sing along to something.
Okay.
I didn't really like CD, like karaoke tracks, so I was like, I'll figure out some of my songs that I like on guitar. And so it kind of like spiraled from there. And I joined a band, and anyway, the rest.
Well, how old were you when you started playing acoustic guitar?
13.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. My dad had one, and he was like, "Here, try this."
Did he play? Did he teach you?
Yeah, he knows like some basic guitar stuff, so he like tried to teach me "Twinkle Twinkle Little Star" and that kind of stuff. Yeah, and he got me one of those chord charts that has like all the chords on it. So I just tried to like make all those shapes and got to where I am now, I guess.
That's awesome. Did he play in a band or anything?
No, he just all his friends like in the 70s played guitar.
Right on. Very cool. What about you, Steve? Where were you born and raised?
So I'm from like a small town called Sudbury in Canada. It's like 4 hours north of Toronto.
Okay.
It's kind of like way up there. Yeah, it's like a mining town, and I started playing music when I was like same thing. I think I tried playing guitar when I was like 9, and I hated it because like somebody was trying to teach me how to read out of a book, and I couldn't. I was just like, I can't do this. And my dad's a drummer, so I switched to drums for like 2 years.
Oh wow!
But then all of my friends played drums, so I switched back to guitar so we could play together.
All your friends play drums? That's usually like the hardest instrument to find, right?
Well, it's because my dad taught them all drums.
Oh.
So we all ended up being like, let's take turns on a drum kit. And I'm like, this is okay, but
that's cool though. Was your dad like Tosh's dad was a pro? Was your dad in bands and stuff?
My dad he put himself through med school playing in like 5 or 6 different bands. Yeah, like he was never like in big bands. His claim to fame is he jammed with BB King once, and
that's pretty huge.
And his band Weasel in high school beat the Guess Who in a battle of the bands.
Really? That is pretty huge. That's amazing. Well, what took you back to guitar? Just everyone played drums?
Pretty much, yeah. It was like, it would be fun to jam with my dad and like with everybody else. And my dad actually always wanted to play guitar, but he was left-handed and couldn't find one when he was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he kind of lived vicariously through me on that one too. So he's like, yeah, we should play guitar. So
and then you would jam with him? That's awesome.
Yeah. That's our thing.
That's so cool. Have you jammed with him like recently? Like, does he sub in for Tosh or no?
He's my sub on the road now.
Was he in the music video for the one that you missed, Tosh?
He should have been.
For Misfit Love, was he in the video?
No.
That would have been rad.
It's like a year ago.
Yeah, he's a huge Tosh fan though. He texts me all the time. He's like, I don't know how the hell that kid does that stuff.
He texts me all the time too, dude. He rules.
That's awesome. So how'd you get from like what took you down here? Or you're in LA too, I would imagine, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what took you down to Los Angeles?
Well, I knew I wanted to play music, and I moved from Sudbury to Toronto because it's kind of like the next biggest town.
Okay.
I lived there for a few years playing music, and I'm like, look, this is something I really want to do. And so I figured I should probably figure out a way down here.
Okay.
And yeah, I just like kept coming back and forth until they would give me a visa. So
Oh wow. How did you I heard that's like the hardest thing is to get a visa for the United States.
He was like alien with extraordinary abilities.
Yeah, that's what they
that's what they called it.
Really?
Yeah, you get some looks when you like I had to get a social security number and all that, and they're like, "What do you do?" And I'm like, "I can't talk about it."
That's awesome. Are you guys married, by the way, or no?
We're just dating.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. I thought you guys were together, and then because my wife and I usually do this podcast together.
Okay.
That's awesome.
But she, we've got COVID and all that other crap, so she has to take care of our 2 kids in the other room. So, but when we talked to Tosh the first time, she was there.
Oh, cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll say hi to her for us.
Yeah,
We will. Oh, when she's actually not home, but when she gets home, I bet you she'll come in here just to say hello. So, but Tosh, you know what is funny is I was watching our original interview, and you didn't even tell me where you were born and raised. I'm assuming that it was Costa Mesa area.
I mean, yeah, I'm in Fullerton, so it's Orange County, yeah.
Oh yeah, Fullerton. Okay.
But,
Was that where you were born and raised?
That's fun. Yeah, I'm still in the same house.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I knew that. Yeah, that's crazy. And that's funny is like I was watching it and I'm like, I didn't even ask him that question. I was just assumed that, oh, he must be just from Orange County.
Yeah, pretty much everyone can kind of, I mean, I feel like you can figure that out pretty easily on just based on where I'm always at.
Sure. And I don't know if they know, but you and I met through Carlie, which was originally I interviewed Carlie Hanson for the podcast. She was the very first interview that we ever published. But I told Tosh after the show, I was like, dude, you are like the best drummer I've ever seen. And then he gave me one of his grandma's the Oreo ball, and it was like life-changing.
They're life-changing. She gave me the recipe.
Oh my God, that's like sacred.
I can't make them.
She made them like later that night. She gave us some, and then she's like, make these now.
Oh my God, yeah. So she gave me, or Tosh gave me one of those, and I was like, oh my God. And then so the next time we saw him, she made some for us. We love the Nanster. She's amazing.
She's amazing,
dude. She didn't just make you some. She brought like a whole box.
Yeah, no, yeah, legit. And I still have the box. I need to send her back something with it. You know how like if your neighbor like gives you like a casserole, you're supposed to make one and like give it back to them like that. But I couldn't make those. I couldn't make anything near which she can create. But so real quick on Tosh, we'll recap. You started playing drums at 2 years old.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so tell me again real quick about this.
So my dad's a drummer. I kind of just always played drums. There were drums in the house. They got me my own kit when I was 2. And then I got another, like my first like full-size kit, I guess, when I was 5, because I broke the one that I got when I was 2 within like 6 months. So I just had to play on my dad's drums.
Oh, really? I didn't know that part of it. You broke your kit?
I broke everything and smashed it to pieces just because I was so crazy. And then I would play on my dad's drums. And so they got me like a real full-size kit when I was 5. And that's kind of when I was like taking it seriously. And then started touring at 16 and just
you got your gig on your 16th birthday, right?
Yeah 16th birthday is when I got my first touring gig, and that was crazy. That was so fun. And then I met them like not too long after that, because I had met them before that, but then we became friends like after I got that gig, like same time period. So like
Whoa, okay, so you've known each other since you were 16?
Yeah.
We met when I was 15 at the Guitar Center drum off.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Why were you guys there? Scouting drummers?
No, we were invited by a friend of ours.
Yeah, a friend of ours was a photographer for it. So he's like, you want to come? I'm like, yeah, of course.
And he wanted us to meet. He knew Tosh was going to be there, and a few other people that he just wanted to connect us with. So that was cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's really cool. Well, I want to know how you guys met. So you moved down from Canada to Los Angeles, and when did you? And Amanda, you moved from Washington to Los Angeles. Did you move down here? We never talked about that. Well, how did you get down to LA?
I've been kind of going back and forth from like 17 to 18, just working with like a producer and still living with my parents. And then we met at NAMM.
Okay.
Through the same friend, weirdly enough, that introduced us.
Yeah.
through Tosh, but
his name's, instead of, let's keep saying our friend, but his name's Robert Knight. He's like a pretty well-known rock photographer. He did like Zeppelin's first American tour and stuff. And like he's got like legendary pictures. So he has like a whole thing where he puts like young musicians together just to try to help them out.
Really?
It's pretty cool.
That is dope.
Yeah, so we met at NAMM and really hit it off, and just musically we hit it off, and I don't know, we just kept blossoming our friendship and eventually moved down to LA together.
Yeah, we started like writing songs over Skype and stuff too, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
like
you
would send files back and forth.
So you guys met at NAMM, but you weren't both living in Los Angeles at the time?
No, we went back to our respective homes and then kept in touch via, like, we were writing songs via Skype and like he was saying, and yeah, we would meet up in LA and then, you know, meet up in our other homes, and then we just decided to move down here, I think a year later.
Okay.
Yeah,
and
a lot of Airbnbs.
Yes.
Oh, you guys would just come down here to meet and then go back home, or?
Right. And like, because I couldn't stay like super long and I couldn't work here. So I had to like, until I could get a visa and all that business. So
sure. Okay. And I know you guys put out a record and had some songs, and the band was like going prior to Tosh joining, correct?
Yeah, so we had our own projects, and the Bexley idea didn't come up until I think like late 2018. I was like, I went under my own name and I was like, I'm tired of this. Like, I don't want to do this. Let's come up with a name. So we came up with Bexley and put out music under that. And so it's really only been going for like 2.5 years. Tosh came in, I think, like a year and a half ago, right?
Yeah, it was kind of your thing to start with, though.
Yeah.
She wrote the first EP with this guy Aaron Edwards, who's like a really rad producer in town here.
Okay.
And then I just pretty much, my contribution to the first record was I edited the drums.
Oh wow.
So the rest was her, and then from there we started writing together more, and then Tosh was like, hey, let's jam. So
yeah, we were working on like a new record idea when the pandemic hit, and I think when that happened, like we were all home, like in the Los Angeles area, and we're like, let's just write a record and get it done. And so
so that was all done within the past year.
Yeah, within the last year and a bit. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, Tosh, when you sent me a song, you're like, I'm in this band now, and you sent me the song. Was that prior to the pandemic? I can't even remember.
Yeah, so that was okay. So we had actually been playing together for a while because we did that Misfit Love we did, and but we had been jamming since before the first EP came out. We had just been
wow, okay.
So we had been jamming a lot, and then the EP was pretty much done, and it was just kind of good to go. And then they released it, and we were still playing together and stuff. And Elijah Wood, who's a rad drummer, he played drums on it, but like a long time before.
Right.
Okay.
I skipped a whole year playing.
No, yeah. Let's go back real quick so we can timeline Tosh into the equation.
Tosh, take it.
So I was like, it was actually like we started jamming after we went to like this art show of Robert Knight's, and we kind of like hung out there, and then we started jamming. But I was still playing for Nick West at the time, so I was 17.
Oh wow.
You were gone all the time too.
Yeah, and so I was just kind of like always gone, and then we would like jam once in a while when we got home. But then we started playing shows at the beginning of 2019 is when we started playing around town and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then we would just like, whenever we were all home and stuff, because Steve was on tour and stuff, and we would be like going back and forth, and we would like, so basically whenever we were all at home, we would try to play shows as much as we could, and
okay. Wait, so Steve, were you in another band then? Obviously you were.
I was briefly.
You're on tour. Okay.
I did a tour with a blues singer named Beth Hart, and then after that, I picked up like some side work doing like playback for some people. Mm-hmm. So like I did it for like St. Vincent and Gwen Stefani and stuff. So it's just running tracks and that kind of thing.
No big deal.
Yeah. So what? Real quick, just so I'm not really even familiar. What's playback mean?
Playback's a bitch. No, it's yeah. I'm gonna make it.
I don't know if that's a stupid question. I'm just curious.
No, it's really, I'm trying to think how to explain it. It's not that complicated. It's basically like
tracks,
yeah,
right?
it's like anything that's not actually happening on stage. So like if there's a string section in the song and there's no string players, like
you're like behind the scenes
I'm
guy.
the man behind the curtain, kind of running that, and like I'll give people cues with like a headset, being like, "Hey, this song's next. Do this, kind of do that kind of thing."
Oh
And
wow!
just sort of, like kind of directing from the side a little bit, and just running basically whatever's not actually happening on stage.
So you're doing that for Gwen Stefani and St. Vincent?
Yeah.
Oh my God. You're just like casually like, oh yeah. Like when I heard that, I thought you were like, yeah, like you were in the studio and played a couple things for like the demo track or something. Not that you were like running the show behind the scenes.
Yeah, the fact that he's like, okay, Gwen, you got spiderwebs coming up next. Get ready.
Yeah,
like
right. Like what?
How cool is that?
I don't know if she knows my name, but that's okay.
Oh, I'm sure she does.
Also, Amanda filled in on guitar for a Gwen Stefani show, which she
rad.
totally just forgets to mention all the time.
What? Okay, how did that happen? Was it through Steve?
Through Steve. Okay, so basically they were doing the Christmas show, right?
Yeah.
They were filming it
iHeartRadio, I think.
an iHeartRadio Christmas special, and she was doing like 5 songs, most of which were Christmas songs, and I guess the guitar player she couldn't make it for some reason.
Yeah, I think she got injured, like she hurt herself, and like it was that day.
Okay.
So they were like, what are we gonna do? Because this is on like
and I was
TV.
about to go to work, like this was morning, and I worked at a juice shop, and I was gonna go to work that day, and he told them that I play guitar because he was like, I play guitar, but they're like, we need a girl. So he's like, my girlfriend plays guitar, so
you can be here in 15 minutes.
Oh wow. So did you have to call the juice shop manager and be like, yo, I'm playing with Gwen Stefani tonight.
Like,
Peace
hey,
out.
I'm not coming in. I'm gonna play for Gwen Stefani today. And
they
know like I'm a musician, or they knew, I guess. I quit that job, but yeah, they were mad. They were real mad. Like,
well, you played with Gwen Stefani, so who cares?
Yeah. It was cool.
Wow. Okay.
We played The Sweet Escape, and that was like my childhood jam. So
wow, that's huge. That is so cool. Okay, so you guys are all off doing other things, and then when you were in LA together or in the same area, you would jam and play shows.
Yeah.
And when did you start? Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
We played shows for like a solid year before we even started working on this record. I think it was all of 2019 we just played shows.
Yeah, we would do like the EP, that single Misfit Love that the first one Tosh was on, and then like some demo-y stuff and a few covers, and we would just kind of throw it all together. It was a lot of fun. Like I think that's kind of what made us want to do the record.
Okay. And like obviously, Tosh is doing a million things too, and then it must have been hard to kind of get everybody in the same place for a long period of time, I would imagine.
It was hard until the pandemic, where it was like, all right, this is kind of like, this is what we were waiting for. Like, let's do it.
Some downtime. Okay, so the pandemic hits, and I mean, obviously everybody comes to a halt. Where were you all at individually, like when that happened? Like, Amanda, where were you? Were you playing with anyone, or what happened when you were?
We were here. Steve was, I'm saying Steve's part. Steve was in, you were on tour with Gwen.
Yeah, we flew out like.
Oh my gosh!
You know how like there was like, all right, travel from Europe is shut down. Like that was the first sort of step. That day, I flew to the Dominican Republic to do a festival with Gwen, and like we landed and we're like, hey, guess what? We're going home first thing in the morning. And I was like, probably a good idea. So like everything we had booked got canceled because it was like Trump's making an announcement on Monday, and this was like Friday.
Right. Did you know what was going on at this point? Like, I mean, were you? I could imagine, like with Gwen Stefani, you're not seeing too many people not show up to shows. Like, I know I've talked to other artists where they're like, yeah, like we sold out this, 1,000-cap room, and there was about 300 people there. Like, I'd imagine with Gwen Stefani, you couldn't really gauge the fact that if there was 60,000 people or 45,000 people.
I guess like we didn't even get that far in. Like like that was like, it was kind of a one-off gig, like just to fly down and do this festival. And
oh wow, okay.
As soon as we got there, it was all canned, and I'm like, hey Amanda, book us tickets to Canada.
Yeah,
So
we went up to Canada for 3 months.
Yeah, as soon as we landed back in Dominican, that next day we booked tickets, and then that Sunday, her and I flew up to Canada for like 3 months and stayed with my family.
Okay.
So, I don't know what's coming.
And how did you get home? Because I know they're like crazy. Like I heard if you come across and you're from Canada and you want to get back, you have to be in like some government run like hotel that costs like some
like
insane amount of money.
This was like we landed the day before they closed the borders.
Oh wow.
So like this was like as soon as we got there, everything hit the fan. Yeah. So we kind of got in right before all that.
And then how'd you get out? If you're as long as you're not going back in, they're cool.
Yeah, the US doesn't care. I don't know.
At the time it was very wishy-washy, but like we just came back through and they were like, yeah, just, you know.
They asked us why we were traveling.
And we're like, well, we live in LA.
We gotta go home.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we landed the first night they had curfews here. Like
when all the protests were happening.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Okay.
We landed after the curfew, which was also weird because it was like a ghost town. We're like, how do we get home?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine driving in like on the 405 or something like that in LA and not seeing any
National Guard trucks going by.
Wow. Okay.
That was weird.
That's crazy. Okay, Tosh, where were you? I'm sure you were in somewhere on tour, right?
I was actually about to leave.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah. So I was like I was like, I need some time off. So I was turning down tours for like the first 2 months of 2020.
Really?
Yeah. And so I was like, okay, I need to be home. I was like kind of losing my mind from being gone so much.
Because at this point, you were playing with so many people. Like you were playing obviously with Carlie and Bryce Vine, and who else were you playing with?
I was pretty much just so busy with Carlie and Bryce. And,
okay.
And then I was getting asked for a few other things that I was like, I just don't think I should do this. I think I need to like kind of focus on, just like being
just like 5 projects instead of 10.
Yeah, like that. But I was like, I need some time to chill, because I was just so busy. We had been going like kind of nonstop. Like I would come home from a tour with Carlie and leave the same day to go on a tour with Bryce and that thing back and forth. And to where I would come home for like 4 hours, do my laundry, eat a meal, and then go back to the airport and leave, like.
Oh my gosh.
And I was doing that like nonstop, like pretty much the week that I came down to San Diego was like one of my only weeks at home. Like
really,
guys, that whole year, pretty like.
Well, I appreciate that.
I was home, like very, very randomly and stuff, and but then so I kind of took those first 2 months off. And then we had Asia booked for March, and so that kind of got canceled before everything else.
With Carlie or with Bryce?
With Bryce.
Okay.
With Bryce. And so we had Asia booked for like March 2020, and so that got canceled before everything else. So so I was like, okay, so that got canceled like in February, and then.
Oh wow! So you already that was already canceled that early on.
Yeah, because it was hitting Asia way before everywhere else.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, so we weren't allowed to go there, and then in March all our April stuff got canceled, and then like April was like, okay, we're not touring until who knows when.
Right.
So,
oh wow.
Kind of just kept happening like that, and I really loved the pandemic at first because I was like, cool. I mean, I guess I get more time to just practice and
yeah.
And I'm allowed to say no when people want to hang out, and I could just kind of hide in my drum room all day and practice. And then it hit like May, and I was like, got all like, I need to do something, and I was like freaking out,
Wow. Well, do your parents come with you on tour or no?
Not really. Like once in a while they'll come around. Like we were just talking about like where they're gonna come this year, but then we might just do a vacation at the end of the year. Just
a little trip to Nashville.
Yeah, we should. I know. I'm playing in Nashville. I'm playing in Nashville in like October, so you guys got to come out.
Oh my gosh! Yes. Okay. We'll chat about this after.
Yeah. I'll take
wow. Wait, I just want to say real quick. Remember, I was still working at the radio station in San Diego 91X at the time, and I'm in the studio in the morning, and I look on the TV and I see Tosh, and I'm like, wait, is that you? And I'm like looking, and it was you playing on like the Ryan Seacrest show. You remember this? And I took a picture of the TV, and I'm like, is it you?
Yeah.
Was that with Bryce Vine?
Yeah, that was Bryce. So it was Bryce Vine and Loud Luxury. We did live Kelly and Ryan. is what it was. Yeah, it was crazy, dude. It was on my sister's birthday, so I was like, I need to get home that day, and so I literally flew home like right after, and everyone else was like got to chill for a little bit, and I was like, I need to go.
I need to get home. Yeah. That's crazy. Okay, yeah, I just remember seeing you. I'm like, wait, is that is Tosh? Oh my god! And then I didn't realize who was playing because it was just like on TV and it was muted. And then it all kind of came together. So, all right, back to your band. So you guys were, you said May, Tosh, is when you got like antsy, and then is that when you guys started writing the record?
Oh, sorry, you go ahead.
I was gonna say
whoever.
It was more like June, I would say, that we started like working on it more, just because we were like, because they had been working on some stuff, and then I was like, I didn't really have a way to record yet.
Okay.
So then I got like a way to record some demo stuff, and then we started sending stuff back and forth, probably like June, because you guys were back here and had the ability to record some more.
Yeah.
So what month did you come back to LA from Canada?
It was June 1st, I think.
Oh wow. Okay. So around the same time.
Yeah. And we had a bunch of songs that we were already working on. And the ideas were mostly there. They didn't have drums yet.
Okay.
But when we got back, we were able to like sort of flesh out the rest of that, and have like a solid set of songs that we were like, yeah, these are the songs. Like we want to make this a record. And then I think in July we recorded drums. We spent like an entire day borrowing microphones from friends and like
shout out to Anti-M's.
Yeah.
There's like I'm friends with a guy from a backline company here, and I was like, hey, I know you're not renting anything because
no one's playing.
Borrow stuff. He's like, yeah, man, we're bored. Take what you need. Like, make something cool. Like, they were really, really cool about it. So they loaned us everything we needed to track drums.
And that's how you recorded Tosh?
Yeah, we went down to his spot
in that room.
We really
sitting in. We sat there on that couch on the futon and
sweating
with the board in front of us. It was like 100 degrees in there, and we spent like 10 hours recording the drums.
Yeah, we do like 8 songs in the day, and then we added If We Have to Die later, like a few months later.
Okay.
That one on, but the 8 tracks he did all in one day in that room.
Oh my god!
Every time I would be like, all right, like towards the end of the day, I was like, all right, wait, let's try something else. Let me try something else. And man, I was like, it sounds fine. Next song.
You're like, I nailed it.
I don't sweat anymore.
It was very warm.
Okay.
That was awesome.
And were you sending Tosh the songs prior?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just like programmed sort of like MIDI drums, like just a demo, be like, hey, this is the idea. Like, do what do your thing on it, but like this is the song.
Okay.
And then we ended up changing. So like one of the songs, it's not out yet, but it's called Desert Song. We had like only half written, and then when we went to track drums, the last song we did was that. And we're like, hey man, like we don't know where this thing's gonna go, but we know we need like this beat, and then I don't know. So just lay down stuff. And then he did for like 20 minutes, just like a big long take. And I took it home and like chopped it up, and then her and I finished writing like the guitar parts and then the vocals, and that was pretty cool. It was like a weird backwards way to put songs together, but it was a lot of fun. So he kind of inspired like the whole second half of that.
Wow. Have you ever written like that, Tosh? Like they were like, okay, you play drums and then I'll figure something out?
I mean, I've done that a lot since then, but that was probably the first time. And like that's kind of how we wrote If We Have to Die too, is we were jamming and I got the idea, and then I just sent him a full take like of where I thought it should go, and that was kind of the song.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, and it was fully Tosh's idea. Like he played the drum beat, and we were like, oh shit, let's come up with something to go with that, because that's really cool.
Yeah, that was
rad.
I think that's the first one we did like sort of in a more traditional band writing thing. Like we went down and we jammed it out. Like he sent us a track, we're like, okay, keep writing, go back, jam it out again, take it home. Like that one was also, the record was finished, like it was mixed, and we're like, hey, Will, the guy who was mixing it, we're like, hey man, do you have time for one more? Because we're gonna rush it and we'll get it to you in like 3 days.
So, wow. So this was like this song was like an addition to what you had already had finished.
Yeah, it was the last song we wrote and the first song we put out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. And so how many songs from the record have you released? Like, I don't know what's gonna make the album. Like, is Misfit Love gonna make the record or no?
No.
Okay.
So the 3 we have out so far, If We Have to Die, Misery, and Sick.
Okay. And what about Run Rabbit Run? Was that a new-ish song?
No, that
was that older?
That was 2018.
That was the
oh
first
wow
in the EP, right?
Yeah, that was the first Bexley song.
Got you. Okay. So If We Have to Die, Sick, and Misery are the 3 that you have out from the record, because Sick is the most recent.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I love that song, by the way. And I want to talk to you, but real quick, I was listening to you guys did the Jam in the Van.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Tell me about that, because when did you guys record that? That must have been during the pandemic?
Was just before the pandemic. So like a couple of our last shows were at NAMM. And,
okay.
Jam in the Van did this thing at NAMM, and we got to play there. So that's when we did the Jam in the Van thing.
Yeah, I think they waited a long time to release it. They had like a backlog of stuff to release, I guess.
They waited like maybe all the way till September, I think.
Yeah, so it took a minute, but then it came out and we're like, oh, it's out. Okay.
Oh wow, okay. And that must be a cool thing to be a part of, I would imagine.
Dude, I thought that was so awesome. I was so worried. I thought it was gonna be like so different. And when we showed up there and they're like, dude, play it like a full set and like play it like a full, like as if you're like totally rocking out and stuff. And I thought that was so sick.
So you just played live? Like, this is a live take of all of those 3 songs?
Yeah.
Wow. And I will say, Steve, your guitar, you are so good at guitar.
No,
I mean, this is like the blend of like, you get like super group blend. I mean, that solo and Falling to Pieces at the end, I was just like, whoa. Like it just caught me off guard.
I don't remember what I did, but thank you.
Dude, it shreds. That's all I know.
Yeah, live it's fun. Like we'll extend out the outros of stuff. Like and Tosh just goes freaking apeshit.
Nuts.
And then, like, we get to solo and stuff. It's pretty rad.
I get to scream all over what they're doing.
That's awesome. Well, I want to hear.
Fun.
It's funny. So I'm watching. I text Tosh before this, and I was like, I'm like, you were on Misfit Love, right? That was like, and he's like, yeah, that was the first time I recorded. I'm like, you're not in the video though, right? Because it's like some dude with long hair, and I'm like, this isn't him. Like, okay, so
that was Tosh was like you were coming back the next day, I think, or 2 days later, and the people filming it were doing us a favor, and like we could only do it this day.
Okay. And what was is Sick the only video you were in, Tosh, or were you in another one?
No, we've done we did If We Have to Die as well.
Okay. What's that video? Tell me, remind me of the video.
It looks like if you were in a lava lamp.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, now I remember. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that was the first video you were in, Tosh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a full-on pandemic one too. That was like Amanda and I are against this wall in our kitchen, and Tosh is in his drum room with a sheet behind him.
Oh, really? And then you just sent like the individual takes to each other and edited it together?
The height of the pandemic. Like we filmed that in January, and it was like you can't go anywhere.
Well, we even stopped seeing each other. Like Tosh and us, like we were like, we had kind of a bubble going on. We didn't see anybody else. And then even at that point, it was so bad. We're like, hey, let's just like wait a minute, because
we're shrinking the bubble. Wow. So was that like, how did you guys, I mean, I know Tosh just makes a ton of videos anyway, but like, how do you survive through the pandemic? Like, as far as, you knew you had the band, you knew you had the record, and was it like, okay, let's figure out a way to put out content? Was that?
Pretty much. This is like the most DIY thing. I don't know how more DIY it could be.
We make everything ourselves.
Yeah,
like all the content online, all the like artwork. That's
even like the video for Sick. Even like we rented a space, and a friend of ours who's also a drummer named Jonathan. He filmed it and I edited it, and we're like,
really?
What we can do,
dude.
Wow.
Steve has so many nights where he's probably has to stay up all night because he has like, we need to get this out, and so he's just like, and like, dude, I'm the worst too. I'll be calling him like, hey, I know you sent me this like a week ago, but like, I changed my mind. I don't like it anymore.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
That 1 second clip.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I love the video for Sick. How did I mean the black and white, how white the background is where you guys are playing. Like that looks so cool. Like tell me about this video.
So I had this idea for this video. I was like, I really want it to look like the contrast, like really white background and really black background.
Yeah.
Because a friend of mine, he did like a feature with a band in Seattle, and that video where they put out their single, it was like the same kind of idea where they had the white and the black, and I was like, it just looks so cool, like if we could do that. So that was the vision, and we just got our friend Jonathan to do it, because he's really good at doing videos for his own band.
Yeah, and he's a drummer, which is cool because like he got like he kind of like DP'd it, I guess, right? And we just co-directed it because he came in with like excitement and good ideas, which was cool.
Yeah,
like
the dripping was his idea.
Oh, rad.
Like he was pouring like was it like cornstarch and food coloring and water.
Yeah, he's like, I had an idea on the way over, so I picked this up at Ralph's. Yeah, and like all the like camera shake stuff is in time, and like he was following drum beats. It was really good. Like he really killed it on that.
It was all one camera, so like he
really.
Yeah, it was like a million different takes. Like
yeah, I can't imagine like how is a shooting a video like that. Is it pretty like, I mean, tedious?
Also, we could only afford the space for a certain amount of time, so it was like a million takes, like back to back to back to back.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Go again.
And we did slow-mo takes to get to get the slow-mo takes that are in it. We played it double speed.
Yeah. So it's like
oh wow. So you're playing double time. Like Tosh, you're playing twice as fast. Well, that must be super hard because you guys are your songs are quick anyway.
Not this one, but yeah, it was fast.
I double speed, it's very
dude. I wanted to kill Steve by the end of that, dude.
Cool, man.
Oh man. I watched your guys' video from you guys did 2 Pearl Jam songs and an Alice in Chains song.
Yeah.
When was that show? And tell me about that. That's you guys killed it on those 3, by the way.
Thank you. Our friend Chris Cafaro, he's also a very well-known photographer. He did this picture, of Chris Cornell.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, he is like, he takes amazing photos, and for me particularly, he's got his sharks. Chris takes really good photos in general, but the ones of the grunge era for me are just like iconic.
Yeah.
So he was putting on a gallery event of all his grunge era photos and asked us to play like a couple Pearl Jam songs, the Alice in Chains song. And
oh yeah, because it was a Pearl Jam
was it just Pearl Jam?
He was
it was
showing
just Pearl Jam.
Pearl Jam photos.
Yeah, because he went on tour with Pearl Jam as their photographer.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
He let you guys sneak in an Alice in Chains song?
Yeah. Personal fave.
He directed the video for Misfit Love and Toxic Love.
Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah. So that was
okay.
Kind of brainchild.
That's really cool. And then how did you guys decide on the songs? And when did that take place too? Because there was a handful of people there.
Right. That was October of 2019.
Oh, okay.
Pre-pandemic. Yeah. And he was, because we were talking about what songs to do with him, and he was like, whatever you do, like, please don't do Jeremy. And I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna
I was gonna say that was the first song you guys played.
I'm definitely gonna do it. And then he was like, oh, you did it so well. I was like, thank you. But yeah.
That was like it was so crazy too, because I honestly I'm like the worst, like I don't know the names of any songs, so or I honestly don't know many Pearl Jam songs, so I was like learning all these songs on the way over to their house to rehearse before we went over there.
Yeah.
Oh man.
You brought a cajon to our apartment. We're like, all right, let's run it a few times.
I was gonna say, yeah, you killed on the cajon. That like for Black, like you nailed the drum beat. It sounds exactly like it's crazy.
Yeah, I really wanted to do that song because the MTV Unplugged version is like, that's my favorite song on the Unplugged show.
Oh, is it? Mine is State of Love and Trust. That's my favorite Pearl Jam song. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, yeah, on the cajon you killed it, Tosh, I must say.
Dude, that was so fun. And I had flown in from the Philippines like the day before, so I was all jet lagged and like, but I was like, I was like the perfect kind of jet lag where you're like too hyper.
Yeah.
So it was like the right kind of jet lag, like because sometimes you get the wrong one and you're too cooked. But like I was like super hyper all day, and it was pretty great.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love your guys' performance in that, and you can see Tosh's dad in the background filming. I love that too.
Yeah.
In the video. So okay, so the record's done. When was it finished? I know you guys added a song. So
It was completely finished end of December.
okay.
Yeah, we remastered and everything by then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So recent, I guess.
Yeah.
No, not
First
really now. I feel like 2020 wasn't that long ago, and then it's like it's been 6 months.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we like completely had the masters back like the first couple days of January. And then we rushed to get the first single out because that was like our timeline. We wanted to get it out, early February. So I think that's when the first song came out, was like that first couple weeks of February.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. And so the record's done. You've got 3 songs out. The next one coming out in about a month. And then do you have a date or anything for the record?
It's gonna be like late summer.
Late summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've kind of just been doing the single thing and seeing,
Mhm.
The response and booking shows and that kind of stuff, just to see kind of how it's going. So it'll be sometime in the summer for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I saw that you guys had a show booked. You're playing in LA, right?
Yeah.
Coming up at the end of the month. Is that going
Yeah.
to be your first show of like the past year and a half?
Yeah, well, Steve and I were up in Seattle the last few weeks, and we played a couple acoustic gigs for a friend of mine.
Okay.
This will be our first like band gig, and I'm so excited.
That is awesome. So were those shows up in Seattle the first time you guys had played in front of a crowd in
Yeah.
a year?
Yeah. We
Year
did
and a half.
5 shows in a weekend. Like
What was that like?
it was cool. It was a friend of ours who he owned a club called Highway 99 in Seattle, which closed down because they like redid the whole waterfront.
Okay.
So like they're just making condos, I think. But he is doing this like summer pop-up thing in his it's like his separate back garage thing at his house. He like redid the whole thing. The front half is like an art studio for this local
rad.
Seattle artist, and the back half is a stage.
Wow.
So he did like 10 to 14 people per show, and did like dinner, drinks, and a show kind of thing.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was really rad. So we did like 1 Friday, 3 Saturday, and 1 Sunday.
Uh-huh.
It was really cool. Like it's just fun to play again, and everybody was just stoked to hear live music. So
Yeah, I can't imagine like people, coming together probably for the first time in a year to see a show. That must have been a pretty like emotional moment.
Oh, and and everybody
was.
had to be vaccinated, so you had to bring your card, and so it's kind of like a bit of comfort for everybody not having a mask and everything. So
Oh wow, that's cool. They did it so you didn't have to be all like crazy social distance masks and all that nonsense.
yeah, just like the kind
It
of
was
small
intimate.
groups.
It was like 10 to 15 people per show, and
Wow.
Yeah, it was rad.
yeah, it was cool.
That's-
Everyone said the same thing, which was, it's been 16 months. We haven't seen live music. You've made our, year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's such a live music town too. So it's
Yeah.
like
Sure.
Yeah.
That's incredible. When
Yeah.
Tosh, I know you've done some stuff, some huge things. The draft and
Those were
Billboard
not
Music
so-
Awards. Like my
The,
mind's blown, and I'm like,
shows.
I see your dad's like posting like, oh, Tosh is gonna be on the draft. Like, what? Like, how did this whole so you've played a few times, obviously, over the pandemic. Like, how did the whole Machine Gun Kelly thing happen? If you don't mind me asking these questions. And yeah, like because you were doing other things during the pandemic. Like, how did you get on like a billboard, like with Bad Bunny? Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, so I was doing the Ashton Irwin thing, and then that was during the pandemic. But then Rook, Machine Gun Kelly's drummer, got hurt.
Wait, what was the Ashton? Tell me real quick before Machine Gun Kelly.
Oh yeah, so Ashton Irwin, he's the drummer for 5 Seconds of Summer, and he did like this thing. He wrote an album, and we did a live concert that was filmed.
Really? How did I miss this?
Yeah, I'll send it to you. It's pretty sick. It's we filmed it all in the studio, and then it was released like that, and then we released it as a live album, and yeah.
And you were the drummer, and he came off the kit and sang?
Yeah, he was just singing for the whole thing.
Oh, cool. And you wrote songs with it? Like, did you okay, so did he have the record done? Was like, hey, I need some people to play on it?
Yeah, the record was done, and it was already done as his own record, like, and it was just him on everything.
Uh-huh.
And then we did a live album.
Oh, okay.
And so we did. It was like a live performance, but then we released it the soundtrack like as an album.
Got it. Cool. How did you get hooked up with him?
I just kind of like he had seen me around and stuff, and then his music director and I were friends too, and so we kind of all just got in contact. But then so I was doing that, and then kind of was just staying busy here and there with some other stuff, and then my good friend Rook got hit by a car, and he plays drums for Machine Gun Kelly, and so he wasn't able to do any of those shows.
Oh, I think I remember seeing something in the like alt press or something about this.
Yeah, so Rick got robbed, or they tried to rob him, and they hit him with their car, and so he messed his legs up pretty bad, and he's not able to play drums yet.
Oh,
so I've just been covering a bit.
Just a bit.
but then the Bad Bunny thing came from that. So Bad Bunny's a big Machine Gun Kelly fan, I guess.
Okay.
And so he watched us play on the NFL draft.
Tell me about that. That was such a. My family's from Cleveland, so I was like, oh man, Tosh is in Cleveland, like that's so dope. And like Machine Gun Kelly's from Cleveland. The first time I ever saw Machine Gun Kelly, he played the halftime show at a Browns game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was like, this is years ago, but he was he was like the halftime guy, and he played like a few songs.
Dude, yeah, Kells is awesome. I've known those guys for quite a while, I guess. I would just from going to shows and stuff, and like seeing them around. And actually, Rook's dad is the one who found me and was like, "Hey, my son's in a band. Like, you should go see him play sometime." Like a long time ago. Like,
really?
Yeah, like a long time ago. He was like, "My son's band is playing like near you," and he's like, "I would love if you would go see him and say hello." And I was like, "Yeah, totally." And then we just kind of became friends, like from that.
Wow. And then he just blew up. I mean, within the past like couple of years with that Youngblood song. I mean, it was like through the roof.
Yeah, and then since then, like the whole Tickets to My Downfall, I'm like the first show I played with him was actually the first full capacity show in the US.
Really?
And it was since the pandemic, so it was like mid-April, and it was like 5,000, almost 6,000 people.
Wow. Where was that show? That wasn't for the draft?
No, that was in Jacksonville, Florida.
Really? Of course. Wow. What was that like? I mean, playing for the first time, and now you're around obviously over 5,000 people.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, I remember I was FaceTiming them all day. Like, I'm not going to believe that it's happening. Like all day at sound check and stuff. I'm like, I'm not going to believe that I'm playing in front of people again until there's actually people there. And like, I think I called you guys after the show, and I was like, guys, that was insane. Like,
you were so like jazzed on like playing for people.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, that must have been like the first show. Those people must have been going nuts.
Dude, it was ridiculous. I don't think the crowd stopped bouncing the entire show.
That's so rad. What about the draft? That must have been. Was that nerve-wracking to play the draft? I mean, isn't that televised and everything else?
Yeah, I wasn't too worried about that. I was more nervous for the fact that Rook was at that show.
Oh, he's watching you.
So he's watching me. So I was like terrified for that. I can play in front of as many people as you want. It won't faze me.
That's true. You've been on TV quite a few times doing this.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, and I played in front of a lot of big crowds and stuff. But the fact that he was there, oh my god, I was losing it. Like the whole day, I was so nervous, man. Like, and I was fine. Anyone can watch me. I don't care. But the fact that Rook's gonna be there, I was like terrified, dude. And man, like
just judging every hit.
That's how I was thinking. I was thinking of it as if someone was subbing for me. I'd be like, oh, I wish they would have done that. Oh, I wish it would. And I knew he wouldn't say anything, but I just knew like I didn't want him to be thinking that. And then and so the whole show I was nervous. And then the last song we had never played live before. It was like we actually had never played it before. They had just told me to learn it, so I was just like listening to it in my hotel room all day.
You guys hadn't, or they haven't played it? You guys as a full like? No, they had never played it.
They had played it, but I had.
But you hadn't played it. Got it. Okay. Yeah,
so they all know what to do, and I'm like, I don't know. So I'm like listening to this recording in my hotel room all day, like hitting pillows and stuff, like trying to like just like mime it and stuff. And then and so I was like freaking out, like Rook's gonna be watching this. I'm gonna totally like chatter this or whatever. It's gonna sound terrible. And then Rook gets up on stage like and without me noticing and then he just started like jamming along with me and it totally like everything went away then.
Oh, that's rad. That is so rad.
It's so fun. Yeah,
that is so cool. And then the Bad Bunny thing happened because of the Machine Gun Kelly thing.
Yeah, so he had like seen me and then this guy, my friend Natural, is a rad music director, and he was MDing the gig, and he was like, I can get the kid on drums, so he just kind of called me and asked me to do it.
Was he was missing a drummer, or like he just was needed somebody else to play with him, or?
Bad Bunny has never like had a drummer before.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he's never had like a band. It's usually just him and a DJ and dancers and stuff. And but for this performance, he wanted a live rock band, so we got me and Johnny Good and a few other rad people. And yeah,
that's cool. How was it playing that show? That's like one of the biggest, music things on earth.
It was cool. I mean, it was like cool watching it back, I guess. Like at the time, it was just like so quick. Like you just get up, you do it, and then you're done. Like,
were you even thinking about like the fact that every huge person in music is there, like watching?
I honestly didn't even think about that, to be honest. I should have, I feel like, but I just was like, I always just forget that part. I'm just usually like, I get so sucked into my own world, I forget that people are watching.
Yeah. Well, you're so good, you probably don't have to really worry about it much anymore.
Yeah, I'm just so good, like,
you are, dude. Let's be real. Let's be real. Like I said, I watched you and I was like, the first thing I told Tosh ever was like, dude, watching you is watching your show was reminded me of seeing Travis Barker playing the first time for Blink. Because I'm from San Diego, and I would say I saw Blink a handful of times without Travis, with their first drummer, and then seeing him with Travis, I was like, whoa, like this is next level. And that's why I felt like watching Tosh. I was like, oh my God, like this guy's like next level. And sure enough, he is. He's playing with Bad Bunny and you guys and, Machine Gun Kelly and everybody else. So
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, okay. So aside from the shows or the show in LA, what do you guys have more coming down? Are you going to do a tour?
There's some stuff in the works. Yeah.
We're going to announce something really cool soon, but we're not allowed to say it.
Yeah.
It's in the fall.
Like that. Okay. I see how you guys are.
Yeah. Can't quite it. Probably in the next couple weeks.
Yeah. Awesome. I can't wait. So, and thank you guys so much for doing this. This has been so awesome. I really appreciate it. And before I let you go, I have one more question. I want to know if I can get an answer from all of you. If you have any advice for aspiring artists.
For me, I would say, just make sure you're happy doing it. Just make sure it always makes you happy. Because it's not fun if it doesn't make you happy. I don't know. Just keep doing things that make you happy.
Very cool. Very cool.
I think the biggest one is just don't stop. Like, it's gonna suck sometimes, but it probably makes you happy because you keep doing it. So keep doing it and like just work hard and don't stop.
I love it. Tosh.
Play a lot. Practice all day, every day, and make sure you're the best at what you do.